a time saver, and I appreciate you. All right, everybody. So we're looking over the general scoring guidelines, and then Adri is going to let us kind of eavesdrop as I score her exact paper. So we're looking at the FRQ. We got Ludi here. He has worked as an assistant in a children's library. He enjoyed shelving the books in the library because he was able to work alone and focus on his task. Although the library was normally a quiet place, sometimes the children's section became quite noisy when groups of children visited. After working in an unfulfilling desk job for 30 years, Ludi recalls how much he enjoyed working at the library. He decides to go back and work as a volunteer, creating new programs for disadvantaged children. You're to describe how each of the following concepts relates to Ludi's return to working at the library. Okay, this would be a concept analysis FRQ. Let's go down the list here. For crystallized intelligence, first I'll do the general scoring guidelines, and if you want to stop watching this video, you can. But then I will follow up with specifically scoring a student's paper. And that might help you get an idea of what scores and what doesn't exactly. So crystallized intelligence, very quickly, this is the idea that, Ludi's going to have general facts that he's going to understand that affects his working at the library. Don't forget to connect it back to his working in the library. So crystallized intelligence. Think like crystals form in caves over years. They harden, right, as they form. So this is like the stuff maybe like we've learned in school. Facts, general knowledge, how to write a letter. 2 plus 2 is 4. That's crystallized intelligence. I before E, except after C. That's crystallized intelligence. That's opposed to, quick review here, fluid intelligence. And fluid intelligence is where we can use creativity and divergent thinking and wit and cleverness. Okay, that's not what they're asking for Ludi. So examples might include Ludi's ability to recall the Dewey Decimal System will help him work in the library. His knowledge of current library practices might impede his success. Ludi reads books to the children. It adds to their understanding of the world. Ooh, so even by reading to the children, he might be adding to their crystallized intelligence. Make sure you're connecting it back to Ludi working at the library. Okay, the next point was about altruism. Let's not forget altruism is when we help someone while expecting no reward for ourselves. Okay, it's complete selflessness. So to get the point, you have to show how helping is for unselfish reasons related to Ludi's return. So for instance, he's helping with the library without expecting anything in return. I don't like this one. He's demonstrating altruism by volunteering. I would like to see a little addition. Apparently that's going to get a point, but you should write a little more than that. By volunteering and not expecting to be paid, for instance, that would get you a point. Let's remember our big 5 personality traits. Canoe, right? Conscientiousness, agreeableness, neuroticism, openness, and extroversion. If you don't know those terms, go back to your notes or check out some of the videos that are posted for you. So extroversion is being, liking to be stimulated by the outside world. Generally speaking, an extroversion, look at some of these examples down here that score. Extroversion means you're outgoing, you're sociable, you seek out people, you're not shy. You like to be stimulated by the outside world. You get a point if you say something like that. Ludi is outgoing, so he enjoys working with the children. He's extroverted, so he hated working that desk job where he did not get to talk to many people or interact with folks. Ludi at the library likes working with children because he can be talkative and sociable. Something like that would get you a point. Broca's area is the part of the brain, remember, that helps us create language, produce language, not interpret language. That would be Wernicke's area. So Ludi uses his Broca's area while talking to the children in the library or reading to them in the library. You have to say Broca's area helps us produce language. and connect that to Ludi and the library. How about self-efficacy? This is the belief about your own ability to do something. Okay, you have to relate that to Ludi's return to the library. So Ludi is confident that he can create new programs at the library. Self-efficacy. He believes he has this ability to work well with the children at the library. I don't love the word confidence. I don't love self-esteem, but you want to show that Ludi has a belief in his abilities to work in the library, okay? The library director believes that she can successfully obtain sufficient funding for Ludi's programs. Ooh, bringing in the library director, that's a risk. I would prefer it if you talked about Ludi's belief in his ability in working in the library in some way. How about episodic memory? This is your recall of a personally experienced event. Episodic, remember? This is one of the explicit memories. It's not semantic, it's not just facts. Ooh, semantic memories would be crystallized intelligence, right? But episodic memories are our memories of life events, like episodes from our own lives. Got to connect that to Ludi in the library. Like Ludi recalls an enjoyable encounter with children, so he decides to go back and work with the children at that library. Okay, something where you're showing Ludi's remembering something from his life. Self-actualization. This is from humanism. The response must describe how fulfilling one's highest potential, being fully accepting of oneself or becoming one's ideal self, is related to Ludi returning to the library. So look, Ludi returns to the library to maximize his personal growth. To maximize his personal growth, to be his best self, to be his best person, he decides to go work at the library. Ludi decides he's not being his best self. He's not fulfilling his potential by working at the desk job. So he volunteers at the library. Something like that would get the point. Good? All right, now I'm going to grade a student's paper because she has been so kind as to agree for that. If you're not interested in seeing that grading, feel free to jump from the recording now. And Adri or someone, if you wouldn't mind helping remind me to end the recording after I score this one paper, if that's okay.
Sounds good.
All right, so I'll find the paper. We will open it up here. Let's see how this student has answered. Check it out, everybody. I love the bullets. This is awesome. This reader knows exactly which points are being talked about every step of the way. That is so good. So good. Crystallized intelligence is the facts, knowledge, and skills acquired through life experience. Love it. That's a quick definition. Now, this student doesn't get a point yet because she hasn't related it to Ludi, but we know it's always a good idea to start with a quick definition, right? Remember our SODA's acronym. And if you need a reminder on that, I've got that as an optional video, FRQ do's and don'ts. Go back and check that out. This is awesome. Great start with a definition. Ludi acquired the skills to work at the library during his senior year in high school. He then, upon his return, will use those previously acquired skills. Awesome, awesome application. Look, a couple of sentences, and that is a point. Very, very good. Altruism is when someone does something and expects nothing in return. I like it. When you volunteer, you are giving up some of your time expecting no compensation. That is true, but unfortunately, I don't see a mention of Ludi here. Oh no, this is where I pull my hair out because I'm so rooting for you guys to get points. Look, here's a student that definitely knows what altruism is, but she didn't link it to Ludi's volunteering. When you volunteer, you are giving up some of your time expecting no compensation. So unfortunately, no point. Adri, does it make sense as to why?
Yeah, I understand why, because I didn't mention Ludi's situation at all.
Thank you so much for letting us see that as an example, because this is a great example of knowing your stuff, but not getting the point because you haven't done what the question asks. So we can all learn from that. Thank you very much. Point 3, Ludi must have high extroversion because he didn't like his desk job. Desk jobs are usually pretty independent in nature, meaning there is little chance to socialize. Love it. People who are high in extroversion thrive with more socialization, as is more likely in a position of volunteerism at the library. Now that's fancy writing. I like it. Everybody who's watching this, don't be intimidated. You don't have to be as good a writer as Adri. Look what we've got here. She says what extroversion is, and she applies it to Ludi and his working for the library. That's a point. It's awesome. Next point, Broca's area. Pardon me. Broca's area is in charge of creating speech. Awesome. Great short beginning. Short little definition. Ludi is planning the volunteer to do a job that involves him speaking to other people. I like it. I think that works. I think it could be even better if you mention something specific, like he's going to have to talk to people at the library, but you mentioned Ludi, you're answering the question. That's a point. Good. Self-efficacy is one's belief in their ability to complete a task. Okay. This makes people more likely to meet a goal or to try to meet the goal. Good. Ludi probably has some level of belief that he can succeed in creating programs for disadvantaged kiddos. You're not going to lose a point for slang term kiddos. But let's go to the prompt here. What do we need? The response must indicate how a belief about one's own ability. Ludi probably has some level of belief that he can succeed in creating programs. Examples. Yeah. And it doesn't say that that leads to him actually creating it. Yeah, he's confident that he can create new programs. You got it. That's a point. Perfect. Episodic memory is next, is where one can play back one of their experiences that turned into memory, like a TV show. Play back one of their experiences. Okay, a memory of their own experience. In the prompt, it says that Ludi remembers the children's section becoming noisy. The fact he remembered means that it was developed into memory, which in thinking about returning to the library as a volunteer triggered the memory to play in his mind. Remembers the children's section being noisy. I think you get this because of your explanation, Adri. This one's tricky because, think of it this way. If it's just Ludi remembers that the children's section of a library is noisy, that's just a fact. Okay, that would be a semantic memory, part of crystallized intelligence. But because of your surrounding explanations, I can read this as Ludi is remembering being in the noisy library. Okay, because you say that memory is playing in his mind like he was there as one of his experiences. So here's an example. Because the student explained further, she gets the point. Good job. Self-actualization is part of Maslow's theory. You don't have to mention that for the point, but that's a good start. This suggests that an individual has reached their full potential as a human. Okay, now factually, you're right, Adri, but remember Maslow believed, and Rogers, all the humanists, that self-actualization could also mean that we're working toward meeting that full potential. Not that we've necessarily achieved it already. That's just really quick review for us, but this is good. This is a very good start. Ludi may be self-actualized, meaning that he can be determined to meet this goal because all of his needs are sufficiently met and he is comfortable in life. Let's go to the prompt. Response must describe how fulfilling one's highest potential, being fully accepting of oneself or becoming one's ideal self, is related to Ludi's return to the library. We have to have the library connection here. Okay. So Ludi may be self-actualized, meaning that he can be determined to meet this goal. What goal? Oh no. Because all of his needs are sufficiently met and he is comfortable in his life. What goal? Oh, this hurts. I gotta say no point, only because you didn't specify anything about the library. This is going to be another reminder to us, folks. Make sure we're doing what the question asks. If you would have said, Adri, Ludi may be self-actualized, meaning that he can be determined to work at this library to be a better person, or because he knows this is what he's really cut out for, is to work at this library, then I could see giving you the point. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, it hurts me because you definitely know your stuff. Everybody, this is awesome. Look at how it's structured. Look at how, Adri is clear about the point she's talking about. She starts with a short definition. She's given just a couple of sentences. So this makes me think she can write all the points in the time limit. We don't need big, long explanations. Do what the question's asking. Make sure you relate your example back to what they're asking for, working in a library, this Ludi guy, and we'll be good to go. This is great practice. Thank you again, Adrian. I'm going to stop the recording there.